evening, everyone. How you doing? I'm Scott Welsh. Welcome to the webinar. I'm so glad we got a nice number of people here. I was super impressed by the amount of people who registered. I'm super excited to talk about this subject, so I'm glad people want to hear about it. I think it can make a difference. While we're waiting for any stragglers, even though good number of people here, go ahead and tell me about the audio. You know, in every single webinar that's ever been done in the history of the world, you have to check the audio. So anyone who's here, I'm going to open up my questions panel. If you could just say yes or happy to be here, or say how much you don't like the color brown, which is the one on my screen here. Although if you're in Ohio in the USA, you probably like the brown's colors. Jim's here. Hey, Jim, how are you doing? All good, all good. John is here. Audio okay. What's up, Ian? How you doing? Ian gets to actually hear my voice instead of just my typed written words. Fantastic. Michael, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let me click through. Hey, Mark, how are you doing? A lot of familiar names filing in. All right, we've got a good number of people here. Get started. I will do a couple of quick house cleaning things first, right up front. Number one is this was a totally organic event. This is not embarrassed. I'm kind of excited about it. This is not a marketing driven event at all. This was literally 2 weekends ago. I was having Daniel work on a variation of one of my robots that I trade, and got together and we were talking about something, a change that we could make. And he's like, "You know that tool that you like? Well, I'm coming out with a new one." I said, "Well, that sounds fantastic." And he says, "And I'm just coming out with it. You want to do a webinar on it?" And I said, "Yes." So that is how this happened. It's literally Daniel is a friend of mine, and his business partner said, "Let's get together and let's see if anybody's interested." So it's pretty funny. Normally, sometimes these can be marketing driven. You know, it's like a planned event of some sort. This was totally unplanned, and I'm super excited about it. All right. Couple more people have joined, so I'm going to minimize that. There'll be time for questions. I've got a bunch to say first, and then I'm going to turn it over to Daniel, and let's get started, shall we? Oh, and last housekeeping. We will be doing this again tomorrow morning. So depending what part of the world that you're in, this is 7 p.m. Eastern that I'm talking to you now. It is being recorded, of course. We're doing it at 7 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. In fact, I'm just not going to go to bed. I'm going to stay up all night and rehearse my lines and then do it again in the morning. All right, let's get to it. Again, I'm Scott Welsh. We're going to talk about a trading tool. And now people say that, oh, so-and-so, I'm here with my friend. And I've always felt, are they really friends? I really consider Daniel my friend. I'm so glad to be doing this with him. I've been in the same room with him at a live trading event. I do talk with him. He does program all of my strategies. I go nowhere else on earth. Daniel does all the work. Anything I trade is Daniel created. My brain power and his coding. I know how to code a little bit in TradeStation, but Daniel is an expert. He's really, really good. And this is a tool that I use. So let's get to it. If my screen will advance. Okay. Now, I am going to give you some numbers in my small little portion of this webinar, but here's a disclaimer. These aren't actual for my training account. These are hypothetical using Daniel's tool. Please do not risk any money you cannot afford to lose. Okay? Okay. Now, if you've heard me talk before, this is a repeat, but if you haven't, this is kind of a bugaboo for me. I love listening to trading webinars, by the way, right? I listened to a webinar today, recording of a webinar. I love trading books. Some traders say they don't like trading books or whatever. I mean, I love them. I love webinars, so I'm on them all the time. And how many webinars have I been on or you've been on? They said there is no holy grail. There is. Oh, wait a second. Seriously, what does that mean that there is no holy grail? A holy grail, in my definition, is it's a holy grail. It's a thing that will always work. It's a thing that's eternal. It's a thing that will always be effective. And they say, okay, well, there is no holy grail. So you're saying there is no thing that can be effective? And of course, that's not true. Of course, there's a holy grail. That really bothers me. It almost is like, I know lowered expectations are a key to psychological happiness, but honestly, there are holy grails, right? And the key to all of this, which going to lead me to Daniel Software, is that we should be looking for the holy grail. I mean, shouldn't we? Right? For example, I like to bring real life into trading. There's a holy grail of getting smarter. Do you know what it is? The average adult reads one book a year. The average multi-million dollar CEO reads, pause, 50 books a year. That's the average. So if you want to get smarter, read a lot. Read more than one book a year. Read a book a month. That's 12. So you're 12 times smarter, quote unquote, than the average person. When will being a voracious reader not work? Well, there is no holy grail of getting smarter. Yes, there is. What's the holy grail of being richer? Well, if you read, I love reading books like this, by the way. I have weird hobbies, don't I? People go to parties, I read books. Anyway, what's the holy grail of having more money? Well, save 10% of your salary, right? How many books say that? And then invest that and make 5 to 10% per year. You're guaranteed to be a millionaire if you do that. Guaranteed. Like, it depends, 5 years, 10 years, depending on your salary. If it always works, isn't that a holy grail? And as you may know, I was a high performance tennis coach since 1994-ish. I trained people to play the pro tour and blah, blah, blah. You can talk about tennis some other time, but guess what? By now you can figure it out. There is a holy grail in tennis too. You commit yourself to hitting the ball in, not turning your shoulders or doing anything. If you just commit to hitting in and show up to your lesson or show up to your clinic every day, you'll be one of the best players around, right? I have 1 or 2 lessons with you and you can beat 80% of the people you play. It's not magic. It's just a bunch of holy grails. Hit the ball in. Okay. So I could go on, by the way. Let's do a webinar. I'm going to make sign-ups. Let's do a webinar on holy grails. I don't think we'll do that, but maybe we will. All right, let's get into trading and so we get to Daniel. When I first started with robots in 2012, here was my method. I'm going to take one thing and I'm going to test the blank out of it until it works perfectly and it works better than everyone else on earth. And I literally, it's well over that now, I spent over 2,500 hours developing my Hornet robot. That's a true story. I actually added it up. I was spending about 5 to 7 hours a day for multiple years, right? And I added it up. So I started in 2012, but I didn't start trading live in 2014. So that adds up anyway. And I did. And I just traded one thing. And then basically I only used one currency pair, the dollar yen, forex we're talking about. And then trading on TradeStation, that's kind of a big point. In 2014, May 2015, I literally made 100%. And it's a fun story. I can tell the longer version, but when I made 100% in 12 months, it was at a Rob Booker seminar. I was speaking live, and then Bill was sitting in the audience. She goes, "Oh, you just got a winning trade and made 100%. Yay!" Okay. Then TradeStation stopped trading Forex, and I had to move to multi-charts, which I tried. Didn't love it. I still use multi-charts, by the way, all the time, but I didn't love it. And then I went to MT4, which I did kind of love. But of course, I had to switch brokers. And in the past, probably 16, 18, 20 months, the execution on Forex trading this particular robot is just not great anymore. A 10 pip win turns into a 2 pip win. A 5 pip win turns into a 15 pip loss. I meticulously studied this robot for years, and it always produced more in real life than it did in testing, and that has changed. And it was a huge, huge shock to me because, I mean, heck, I spent over 2,500 hours on a robot. It should darn well work. On paper, the Hornet's working as great as ever, and that's the crazy part of all this. If you look at the testing of the Hornet, it's fine. It's the getting of the trades in actual real time is not anymore. And this was one of the truly disappointing moments in my trading career going back to 2004. Okay. So guess what? That means what I did was not the holy grail. Trading one thing, right? So I've gone a shift really in the last, year and a half, 2 years. I stopped making everything perfect. I stopped because that's what I did, right? 2,500 hours to make it perfect. I stopped trying to make a perfect back test, a perfect chart, perfect equity curve, and I stopped trying to make one robot perfect. And I started opening my mind to other things. And I started to find that simple works better. I started to find that a little bit of losing is okay. What? Yes, it's true. If your system loses a little bit, it means it's going to last much longer. If the system never breaks down, it usually means it's fragile and it's going to break down sometime in the future. It's weird, but it's true. It seems backwards, but it's true. And I've made a switch in the past, like I said, year, 2 years, and I've made a switch. How about something simple that will last? Okay, well, of course, if it's simple, if you don't have a bunch of filters, guess what happens? It loses trades. Oh, I know. And that's unforgivable for me. Never, there's no losing month, right? But it loses, and it will have a losing year. The best, most robust thing I've found mathematically will have a losing year. Well, that stinks, right? No, it doesn't stink. Because why do you only have to trade one thing? See where I'm going with this? You take something simple and you add a friend, another instrument, or another and another. The people who manage millions and billions, guess what they do? They don't trade one thing, they trade a bunch of things, and they make it simple. This is what the big dogs do. And so I started letting this into my life. But there was a problem. I spent 2,500 hours testing one thing. What am I going to do if I add 5 things or 10 or 20? What do the really big fund managers trade? 50 or more, right? For trading futures contracts. These are the people who make money in the real world. 50, 100. Well, let's just say I want 20 in my portfolio. What am I going to do, right? Testing 20 things at the same rate I used to be would be 50,000 hours, which is 5.7 years. So I was making this radical switch, and I was starting to see data that made a difference. And yet I realized I'm going to have to shut myself off from the world to test all these things. But this is all true story. I swear it's not marketing. This is actually how it happened. I talked to my friend Daniel, who programs all my robots, and he says, "Hey, Scott, guess what? I have software here that I've developed that you can test almost unlimited amount of things. Not unlimited, Daniel will tell you, but many, many things at once." And I said, "Yes, please. Will you please send that to me? I'll pay you any amount of money." But he sent it over to me, and I don't think I do it every day, but I think I do it every day. I think I'm not happy with my day unless I use Daniel's portfolio tester at least once. It's like unfulfilled. The two things I can't get by in my life, one is if I don't have my Fitbit in my pocket, it's like a wasted day. If my steps aren't being counted, then I might as well not exist. That's weird, and that's another webinar, but it's true. I think I walked over 3 million steps last year. Anyway, the other thing is a portfolio test. If I haven't run at least 1 or 2 portfolio tests a day, I feel like I'm not getting better, right? So I literally use this all the time. And that's why it was so funny a couple weeks ago when Daniel says, "I'm out with a new one. Let's talk about it." So literally now I'm testing multiple things. And the info that I gain from that is so huge. You can run a test on all these instruments and then, don't like that. So I don't need to worry about that. I learn something every single test I run, which is why I'm so addicted to running these tests, okay? So that's what I do. Maybe you find that to be a boring life, or maybe you find that to be an exciting life, but that's my life, and it's a real tool, and I really love it. So enough of me jabbering on. Let's get to Daniel. We'll transfer my screen over, and Daniel will tell you all about it. Let's see.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So my name is Daniel, and thank you, Scott, for the warm words. I actually know Scott for many, many years now. I also met him at a Rob Booker conference.
Yes.
Yes, many years ago. And then I got his contact, and eventually I started coding some of his EAs for MT4. I think we started with the Hornet probably. And
yeah,
then it just extended
a bunch of things. Yeah. All right, I'll stop.
Yeah, it extended from there.
Yeah.
And yeah, now I've done probably 5 or 6 robots for Scott and MT4 and small little increments.
But we've done like 10 versions of each of those 5. Let's be honest. So we've done a lot of versions. So. All right, I'll shut up.
That's right. Yeah, there was a lot of work being done for Scott, and it's fun. Scott is one of my favorite clients. He's always very precise when he has an idea in mind, and I love this word clients because he knew what he wants. And for a developer, That's very good because then I don't have to pull it out of him. All right, so who am I? So my name is Daniel Sinnick, and I'm hailing from Montreal, up north in Canada. Of course, locked down like the rest of the world from my home office. Yeah, I'm actually a software engineer. So I teach software engineering at the university here in Montreal, but I also develop trading tools. And over the years, I've been doing this for many, many years now, we have developed quite a track record when it comes to trading solutions. We've built numerous indicators for MT4, but also other platforms, TradeStation, TradingView, Thinkorswim, and so forth. Plenty of EAs, so I've seen them all, not only Scott's, but many other ideas for EAs for MT4 or other platforms. We've built trading scanners, trading dashboards, standalone tools, and whatnot. With our mission was always to build tools to help the traders to make better trades. And one of these tools I will present to you today. It is a tool built for MT4. Sorry, just 1 second. Can you guys see my screen, by the way? Scott, do you see my screen?
Yeah, absolutely. I did see it. Yes.
Perfect. Okay, great. The tool I will present today is a tool for MetaTrader 4. And what it does, it automates your strategy testing. Instead of testing one strategy on one symbol at a time, you can test in one shot multiple symbols and multiple time frames at once. As you will see, this is going to be a big, big time saver. But first, before I talk about the tool, I'd like to talk about why do we even test our strategies. And Scott already mentioned it. We may have an intuition of something that might work in the market, but we're not sure. Well, how can we find out? We'll transform our intuition into an EA for MT4 and then run it through the strategy tester. And then the result will either confirm or disprove the intuition that we had. We also test to set our expectations. We need to understand what kind of strategy are we dealing with. Is it a strategy that has multiple small winners and maybe which are then offset by a bigger loser, or vice versa? We may have multiple small losers and then a big winner may come, or it's just a losing strategy altogether. But it's important to know before we actually trade it live, just to set our expectations. That way we don't panic if we going through a losing streak, for example, because it's part of how the strategy behaves. We need to understand this, and vice versa. Should we have some winners in a row? We don't want to be overly excited, maybe increase our position size because the strategy may have a bigger loser that may follow. But without having an understanding of how the strategy actually intrinsically works, we wouldn't know how to react to these situations. And this is why portfolio testing, why testing is so important. And of course, testing is also important to manage your risk properly, especially if you trade multiple strategies at once. And of course, to optimize your strategy as well. Every strategy comes with a set of parameters, and there is an ideal combination of these parameters for a given symbol. And through strategy testing, you can find out what these parameters are. All right, so testing makes a lot of sense. Yet, why do you think most traders, quote unquote, hate strategy testing so much, and Scott being the exception here? So many traders do not test their strategies thoroughly. And there's a very easy answer to this. Just imagine you have one strategy, you'd like to run it on 19 different symbols, 3 time frames, and perhaps through 6 different configurations. Well, how many trades would that be? 342 different test runs. All of these need to be run and analyzed manually. That is an extremely painful task. And you will easily add up these hours that Scott has spent on his testing. And I guarantee you 99.9% of everyone in the room here will not go through this laborious task. It's just too boring. It's just too painful. This is why we came up with a tool which allows you to automate these 342 test runs. All you need to do is to click together your test, then click execute, and the tool will do the rest for you. It will run all these tests one at a time for you in one shot. And meanwhile, you can go for a walk, grab a coffee, go to bed, or perhaps do some other work. The important thing is that you will not have to be there while these tests are being executed. You will not have to execute these tests one at a time. All right, so this is a screenshot of how our tool looks like. And we've even prepared a small video for you, which will show you how this tool can be used. Give me like 1 second. So we call this tool the MT4 Portfolio Tester 3.0. And this is the 3rd generation of this tool. All you need to do is to click together your test run in a few simple settings. First, choose the MT4 folder. Then choose the start and the end date of your test, and perhaps some other global test parameters. Yeah. Then you select the EA you would like to test. And here you have the chance to select multiple EAs. So in this case, my magic algo. You select the configuration of your EA in form of a preset, or you use the default parameters. Then you select all the symbols that you'd like to test the EA on. In this case, 7 different symbols. And then you select the timeframes. And that's it. You're all set. You click Run Test, and the tool will do the rest for you. It will execute all these 14 tests for you. And this is a fast forward video. And once done, you will get all your results within a CSV file. All right, so while this runs, you don't have to be in front of the computer. Once done, your results will be saved and the test is complete. All right, so back to my slides, and then I will hand over back to Scott. Some of the features that you've seen is that you can click together your test specification with just a couple of clicks. It's very fast. The test will run in the background. Meanwhile, you can do something else. You can save your test configuration. Imagine you had clicked together a test spanning across multiple EAs on various different symbols and timeframes. Yeah, you can save this test specification and reload it later on for easy replay. This will work with all MT4 installations and with all MT4 symbols. Yeah, even in portable mode. Many of you may run MT4 in portable mode, perhaps on a USB stick. This tool supports portable mode as well. All right, you can also configure your symbols and spreads. In the MT4 back tester, for every test run, you can configure which spread should be used. In the settings of this tool, you can configure your spreads as well. For every symbol, a different spread may be used. And of course, you can test multiple EAs, as you can see here, in one shot. All right, so we have a special offer that I'd like to present to you. For the first 10 clients today, we will offer our tool instead of the usual price, the regular price of $449, for only $249. That's a $180 saving for the first 10 clients. Yeah, so if you're interested, please go to our website, which is tradingindicators.com/tester, yeah, which will bring you to the homepage of this tool. On this homepage, we also have additional information that you can look at. And if you enter the discount code Scott, yeah, during checkout, you will get 40% off. You get $100, $180 off the regular price for the first 10 clients. And of course, if you have any questions, yeah, feel free to either contact me through our website or email me directly at ds@tradingindicators.com, and I'd be happy to answer all of your questions. And of course, it goes without saying, if you have an idea for an EA, for an indicator, or something else trading related that you need to have coded, yeah, please approach me. All our customers get by default a 20% discount on coding projects, yeah, if you're an existing customer. All right, so this is our offer for you today. So tradingindicators.com/tester. And now I'll hand over the word back to Scott, who will use the tool live to test some of his strategies.
Bring it on back to me. And then I'll show you my slides again and just run a sample test, and then we can take some questions. We promised to be here about a half hour, so we'll try to hold to that. Let's see. I need to make another person a presenter, or I'll make myself. Haha. All right. Can you see me, Daniel?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm only show this because this is stuff that this is what Portfolio Tester had or has produced for me. And you say, well, it's great to test, but does it actually make real results? So this is as of March 30th. I only show you this, not to brag, although my fragile ego, it does help to see my name on the screen. But this is a trading contest, and this was born by the ability to use the Portfolio Tester. Daniel helped me build the new Dragonfly robot, and then I've been testing it, and I can't even tell you how many times I've been testing it. But I'm trading that live in a trading contest, and as of March 30th, I was in 5th place. And there's been some small losers. I'm down to 37%, so it's a very sad ending to that story. But hopefully, I get a few winning trades and get back in the top 5. But I just only showed that because that's real. It's a real money trading contest. It's real money. I have this. I have these robots on all my accounts. So the only reason I showed you that is to tell you that this stuff works in real life. I'm using it in real life. Just to stay on the PowerPoint, this is Daniel's screen that he showed me. All I did is browse and go to my MT4 installation, just like Daniel said. Browse, scroll down, click. That's 2 clicks. I put the date, 2007 to now. Why 2007? I ran that for this test because that was right before the financial meltdown, which is kind of what was going on right now. Every tick is important. You want to do this every tick. Otherwise, it's not a legitimate test. So you want that in every tick. This is the folder. I just picked that. I ran it for talking with Daniel. This is Breakout Robot. This is the Turtle Robot 2020. And if you're a lifetime member, which I think some of you are, Daniel just built a new version of the Turtle Robot 2020 that I haven't even told anyone about. I just blew that, told the secret. And then I ran this is just a simple breakout robot based on the turtle strategies, and I used a 3-to-1 risk to reward. You can see these are the currency pairs that I like for breakouts, and then I hit run test. So, I mean, this took me 32 seconds, I think, to set up. That doesn't take me long. And this is what happened. You can see that it took 46 minutes. So that's why I run this, and then I go do something else. Exactly like Daniel said. There's each currency pair that I tested. I did it on a daily. You can see since 2007, they're all profitable, which actually was an accident. I didn't know that would happen. I just had an idea that it might happen. So that's kind of cool. That would be a nice little portfolio since 2007. You can see the total trades, though, it's pretty robust, I always love enjoying. I really dive into this. I enjoy this very much. This is the sick fun that I have. 2,300 trades. That's a lot of trades for a daily chart, right? So that's important. That means we got a little bit of robust. Average drawdown. This is depending on what you put in. I like to do my tests on a $50,000 sample account. You can do 10,000, 20,000, whatever. Average profit factor, and there, as you can see, the portfolio made $296,000, which again I was very happy with. This is something I'm seriously considering going live with. I wanted to show you something that's legitimate. Okay, if you wanted to see that live, I mean, do you need to see it live? I mean, you can go right over. This is the same thing, right? I hit browse, and I hit run test. You put in, right, this is a scroll down with all the robots that I have. These are all the settings, and you can see I've got a couple. Oh, look at that. And then the currency pairs, you can pick more, pick less. If you want to manage the symbols, that's what Daniel was talking about. You can put spreads that you think are better. Daniel brings it or gets it to you with pretty good guesses. I change them for some that I found in real life trading. So I like to make my testing conservative. So sometimes I change those and make them worse than real life. And that's it.
Scott, ahead, maybe one quick interruption.
Yes.
What you see right now, the default settings, they only cover the currency pairs, but in the symbol settings, you can add any instrument that you'd like that MT4 supports. So if you want to trade the German DAX or the Nasdaq 100 or the S&P 500, you can just add the symbol in the settings there with the associated spread. And once you've done, they will be added to the list, as you can see there, and you can back test it in MT4 as well.
Great, thanks everybody. I want everyone who is here to be back at 7 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. We're going to do it all again. You have to be. It's mandatory. Thanks everybody. Really great turnout. Great register number. I'm really excited. Again, this is just two friends trying to give you some software at a decent price. So I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Daniel, and I'll see you in the morning, Daniel, too.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.